We'll do it this way. Alright, it's time to do the floors. First step in floors, second, third, eighth, depending on how you do it, getting a big piece of cardboard, refrigerator box size. This van's got a little bit of an off shape, so I want to do a template before I cut the wood. Handling cardboard's a lot easier than handling plywood. Simply laid it out and got the overall shape, mostly getting the edges, little cuts in there, going around the hump. Still got to trim it back a little bit because it's just over the center line. But with my design, I wanted to put the hardwood or the plywood around everything. I'm going to have everything insulated underneath here, then I'm going to insulate the wheel humps. So my next step, I'm going to transfer that cardboard over to the plywood, start making cuts, and go from there. So I decided to take the template after I cut it for the driver's side, just to flip it over, see how much symmetry is in there. I think we're good. There's a couple cuts I don't want to do, mostly dealing with that corner right there, because that one stays solid for the most part. The only other real difference is over at the front door. Once I'm done cutting, I'll have to trim this one back a little bit to make room for the doors to close. That's pretty good news. This is the board I just cut out, following the template for this side. She fits in nice. So I got the template next to the board. So one of my friends just stopped by and asked me why I was cutting the panels first when I stopped to do the insulation first. A couple reasons. One of it is I want to use the extra parts of the plywood to fill in any extra gaps and have all that wood ready. The other part is the ribs underneath. It's thin enough where I'm going to actually use it to insulate between the ribs to get a more even floor. So I needed that wood. Got to cut the panels anyways, so kind of two birds, one stone. What you doing, Bear? Hey, don't put along. So this is what it looks like with this template. Modified it for the other side. I'm going to trace this one out and cut it out. Top cut's been done. The only other thing that I got to do as far as tracing, because we've got a doorway, the double doors, I just marked with tape. This side of the line is where I'm going to cut. So what I'm going to do is just get a measurement in a straight line, draw that line instead of tracing it, and cut. One thing I also wanted to mention, we've got the template that we cut out. You'll see that I've got it clamped down here and at the other end. Let's see if I can zoom that in. The reason it's clamped is because things like to move. And you start tracing at one end, after you're at 8 feet, you're off by as much as an inch or so, which makes a big difference. So, one tick time saver tip, material saver money tip, clamp down your templates. Alright, panels are laid in there. Nice end, and these look like I want them. Corner. I do something else with that one because I realized that I only got 8 feet. At the end there, same thing, I got a nice little ledge. Everything butts up really nice. They're just laying there, so you can see a little bit of a gap, but those panels are done. I'm figuring out what I want to do with the batteries. They're the solar setup right there. Keep them on. I'm going to have a water tank, 40 gallon I think it is, 35 or 40 gallon right there. So I want to offput the weight with the weight of the batteries. So we'll see what happens next. A couple funny things with the project. There's my 200 amp hour batteries. And the rest of my solar kit, which is a 300 watt, I'm sorry, 3000 watt power inverter, 200 watt panels, all the goodies, all the fixings as they say out here, all the cables. Well, the city shut off my water and power. I'm at fault. Usually they just turn off the water, and this time they turned off both. It was kind of surprising. I was halfway through cuts and doing the floor. I'm laughing because if I spent an hour, I can hook up my solar, have a good time. Got too many other things. I'll show you. Let's go take a look at what's going on with the van. Remember me cutting those out the other day? Well, you can do a lot without power. I am doing the first level of insulation on the van. I've trimmed and fit the little ribs, battens, whatever you want to call them, and I'm working on the first layer 1/2 inch rigid styrofoam insulation. I've measured the distances between all the pieces, between all the ribs, using a straight edge tape measure to verify. I'm cutting with the straight edge so that every line is perfectly straight. Well, we're still waiting for power so I can get the saw to trim those ends. After I do that, I can use adhesive to glue these braces in, frames, whatever you want to call them. I'm not too technical with nomenclature. I know a lot of big words though, I just don't use them. For all the small gaps, I'm going to use expanding foam. I'm going to have a vapor barrier on top of this, and then I'm going to use a 1/2 inch ply. And while I'm waiting, I got my vapor barrier. I'm going to start laying that out just to trim it. It's all the small details I take all the time. So I'm going to get that all ready. I'm going to roll it all up, get it ready for when everything is, for whenever I'm ready for it, it'll be ready to go.